Hey everybody, welcome back to Higurashi When They Cry. We are still in the Watanagashi chapter. I think we're on chapter 4? Yeah, end of chapter 3. Yeah, so here we go. Boop. Yes. I meant to upload some videos yesterday and get some recording done, but they're doing construction on our street, like with jackhammers and all that noise. So I was like, there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to record. Let me just, for sake of ease, 1 second, guys. Little deafening. Alright, so let's go ahead and continue our game here. Good. I think the last episode we had the curry cook-off. I might have explained this before, but phys ed at our school is really just an exercise in disorder. After some random warm-ups, the rest of the time is spent doing whatever. You're free to cause a ruckus or just fall asleep. That sounds like a great phys ed class. I'd love to fall asleep during phys ed. Like the presidential physical fitness test? That was the worst. Talk about being humiliated in like your grade school years. I have no idea what you're saying, Keith. It's rather difficult to understand. Right. Like other teachers, you're supposed to have a lesson plan or curriculum for phys ed. Well, not if you're sleeping all class, you're not. You're not a better athlete. Come to think of it, they might be right. If we all lined up for a race, there was a good chance I'd finish dead last if I didn't start off well. Let's just pray that when a brutal penalty game is at stake, the 100-meter dash isn't a club activity. Fantastically tired. I'm gonna start using that. I'm fantastically tired today. So it seems like their phys ed class is more like a recess period. I mean, I guess you can sleep during recess too. Doesn't really matter. I'm going to scroll out on top of a pipe. Mion grabbed me by the collar. Good grief. Which means, is it going to start again? Another activity? I wanted to sleep. Now that this is happening, taking a nap is impossible. Not just that, with the sleep-deprived head of mine, I'm as good as mincemeat. I have to get my brain into gear. Okay, what are we doing? Ooh, super special. Okay, just FYI, also, we're in episode 4, and we never finished the game competition we started in episode 1. At that toy store. We never finished it. Today would be like a good time. She began to announce the cruel penalty game with a grand spinning flourish. Before she could do that... You tell her, Rika. Of all people, it was Rika-chan announcing her non-participation. Even rare events do eventually occur. Losing her timing, Mion spun around like a top as she stumbled to the ground. Oh, it's almost the cotton drifting festival. That's when the shit's gonna go down. Yeah, so Rika is the shrine maiden for the Watanagashi festival. So she has like a ritual dance that she needs to perform, and she has some traditional stuff that she needs to do for the festival. So. Yeah, let's go to sleep. When Mion announced that today's club activity was cancelled, Rika-chan and Satoko headed off behind the school building. Only I was left alone, completely clueless as to what everyone was talking about.
一体何なんだ？リカちゃんは何か大会前とかで特訓をしてるの
For the
か？
festival, Keiichi. We've already discussed this.
リカちゃんは綿流しの巫女さんだから奉納の演舞をすることになっててね。その練習なの。
Why don't you explain things in order? First of all, what is this Watanagashi? Next, what do you mean by shrine maiden? Last, what do you mean by ritual dance?
あれ？ケイちゃん家には回覧板とか行ってない？書いてなかった？今度の日曜に綿流しのお祭りがある。
I feel like we've talked about this before. Oh, maybe we talked about it in chapter 1 in the Okonokichi chapter. Maybe we didn't talk about it here in Watanagashi. Think of it, I have a feeling Mom did say something about it during dinner the other day. The Watanagashi is a festival that happens at the shrine on a Sunday every June. It's very lively. I see. But Watanagashi sounds like a pretty strange name for it. Is it something like the Lantern Festival, where they have a memorial for the dead by floating things down the river?
さすがはケイちゃん。綿流しはね、名前の通り綿を流すんだよ。
Right, so they take cotton from things like their old futons and other things, I guess, and they just float them down a river. And we saw it in the first chapter in Onikakushi. I'm having trouble speaking today. The cotton you see is from futons or jackets. So it'd be something like a futon memorial?
祭壇にもお布団を積み上げているし。
I've heard of people leaving offerings of things like needles or kitchen knives to their ancestors or to casualties of war, but an offering of futons is a first for me. What's the history behind that? Mion tilted her head pensively.
言われなんてほど難しいのはないと思うな。この辺って冬の寒さはかなり厳しいからね。布団とか斑点とかの防寒具を特に大切にしたからじゃないかな。
Oh, so it's like for a good harvest kind of thing?
ああ、なる。つまり冬の間お世話になった布団に感謝しようってわけだ。で、巫女さんが供養をして最後に川に流すわけだ。それが綿流しってわけだろ。
Mion and Reina indicated that I had the correct answer with a round of applause.
でねでね。
Well, there's no better way to thank your futon than throwing it in a river and getting it all soggy and wet. Bye. Thanks for keeping us warm during the
その
winter.
供養をする
Piss off. Down the river you go.
リカちゃんなの。
へえ、リカちゃんが巫女なんだ。言われてみればリカちゃんってどことなく神秘的な雰囲気あるよな。
だよね、だよね。リカちゃんの巫女さん姿ってね。かわいいんだよ。
Certainly does seem like it would suit her. Yeah, it might be cute. It might be
ようや
cute.
く話が見えてきたぞ。リカちゃんの言う特訓ってのはこの巫女さん役の練習なわけだな。
そういうこと。巫女さんが布団をお祓いする一連のセレモニーを奉納演舞って呼ぶんだけどね。それの練習なんだよ。結構大変なんだな、これが。
巫女さんはね、祭事用の大き
She
な
got carry a
コアを
hoe.
持って演舞をするん
Don't
だ
we
けど
all?
それがね、
Don't we all?
リカちゃん
We all got our own
すごく
heavy hoes in our
重いらしい
lives.
の。
リカちゃんってちっちゃいもんな。その重いクワってどのくらい重いんだ？
かなり重いらしいよ。リカちゃんは餅つき用の杵で練習してる
A
くらい
mochi
だから。
mallet. I guess that must be pretty big. Wait a minute. That's way too heavy. Forget about Rika-chan. That'd be rough even for me.
祭事用の神聖なクワだからね。間違って落としちゃったら大変らしいし。
まあ、年に一度のお勤めだからね。私たちは陰ながら応援するしかないね。大丈夫。去年もちゃんとやり遂げたんだから。
そっか。じゃあさ、せめて応援してやろうぜ。それくらいならいいだろう。
I was rather curious about exactly how she practiced. Mion laughed as she shook her head.
ほっといてあげなよ。ケイちゃんが来たら、リカちゃんは可愛くなっちゃうから、特訓ができなくなるよ。
Hmm? I didn't quite understand what Mion was saying.
リカちゃんがね、努力とかそういうのを人に見せるのが好きじゃないの。ね。そっとしておいてあげて。
Oh, we just be a distraction. We just get in the way. I get that. Even the always cool and aloof Rika-chan has sometimes when she sweats while giving it her all. Because she was always so well put together, she didn't want people to see an ungainly side of her. Like I couldn't understand that feeling.
俺にでき
Nobody
るの
wants to see you
は
sweat.
成功を祈ること
Or do
だ
that.
けってことか。
All I can do is pray for her success, huh?
頑張れ
Do your best, Rika.
フルでリカ応援してるから。
Furude-san. Well then. Climbed up onto the pipe and plopped down on my side. And went immediately to sleep. which I wanted to do the first time.
リカちゃん、さらに応援の電波を高めるため、これより瞑想状態に入
In
る。
meditative state. I'll be going the freak to sleep. Leave me alone.
結局寝るわけか。
What with sleeping during phys ed? That would be great. I would kill. When I was growing up, I would kill to be able to sleep during my phys ed class. Lackadaisical noontime ended up giving way to mind-numbing afternoon classes. Rebounding from yesterday's hunger, I ate too much for lunch today, leaving me in a horrible condition.
さすがに食いすぎた。午後の授業は答える。
At least you already had your nap in. That's not too bad.
ケイチくん、今日はなんだかすごい食欲だったもんね。
基本的にいつも大食いだけどさ、今日はなんか格別だったね。
Wow. Thanks, Mion.
昨日は俺昼飯抜きだったの。
Thanks for the body positivity. Skip lunch, yeah?
その日持ちさが染みついちゃってさ、今度は逆にいくら食っても食
Yeah.
欲が底
Yeah,
なしって
we
いう
didn't
か。
have any curry to eat yesterday, so leave us alone.
わかるよわかるよ。しかしケイちゃんってさ、いつもお弁当きれいに食べるよね。ご飯一粒も残さないっていうか。
食べ物ってのは作ってくれた人に感謝して食べるもんだぜ。残したら苦労して作ってくれた人に失礼だろ。
Yeah, that's what my parents used to do. They used to make me clean like the plate. Same deal, same basic premise. Hearing that, Mion's eyes momentarily widened in surprise, followed by a cool laugh.
ケイちゃんってさ、パッと見ワイルドでいい加減そうなんだけど、結構律儀だよね。
Pretty conscientious. That's very nice of you to
気
say.
がいいというか。
あ、それはレナも思うな。ケイチくんって見かけよりずっと優しい人だよ。
Both of them were probably trying to compliment me, but had a strange feeling that I wasn't being complimented at all. Are these like backhanded compliments?
そんなことないって。
Like, oh, we thought you were a freaking dick. Turns out you're actually a pretty thoughtful guy.
見かけと中身は大違いってそう言いたいんだよ。
My appearance and my personality.
それが褒めて
Yeah,
ねって言ってんだよ。
that's not a compliment actually. That's a backhanded compliment.
こら、園崎さん、前原くん、授業中ですよ。園崎さんはどこまで進みましたか？ノートを持ってきてください。
Uh-oh. Startled, Mion vocalized a rather easy to understand utterance. She was so enthralled in the conversation, she had stopped working completely.
まあそこそこに。さっきから全然進んでないじゃないですか。最上級生なんだから、もっとしっかりしないといけませんよ。
Now you're in trouble. That Mion, it looked like she was getting lectured. Poor bastard. Poor bastard Mion.
人は見かけによらないっていうことだね。むしろ見かけとは逆が誠かもしれないよ。
面白いこと言うじゃねえか。
Responding to Reina's seemingly profound statement, I turned my gaze to where Sadako was happily settling together with Rika-chan.
あの生意気盛りのサトコも実は見かけとは逆にすげえ塩らしいっての
If
だ
I
よ。
went by what Rika would... Oh, I'm confusing them. If I went by what Reina literally said, then that would be the case. I could hardly imagine Satoko being meek and gentle like a girl in some fairy tale.
最近はあんな感じだけど、ちょっと前までは違ったんだよ。すごい甘えん坊で、いつもさとこちゃんには内緒ね。
あのサトコが
Satoko?
甘えん
Cute?
坊？
For Satoko to play coy, I think that would have to be some part of a calculated plot. Even if she was to hide behind someone, I wouldn't think it was because she was attached to them. Since it came up, I tried to imagine a gentle and coquettish Satoko. Can't do it.
おい、サトコ。
なんですの、お兄様。
Satoko smiled cutely and walked towards me, with her red demon eyes. By the way, for every 3 steps forward Satoko took, for some reason I took 3 steps away.
お兄様、なんで逃げますの？
すまん、サトコ。お前が愛想笑いして近づいてくると何かの罠のような気がするんだよ。
ひどいですわ。お兄様の意地悪。
Please.
ごめん。別に悪気があったわけじゃないんだ。
Weeping Satoko came closer to me. I'm a sucker for tears. Click. What? Did she just reload her pistol? Now you die, bitch. Clank. Huh? A bear? Yeah, that's about right. That's Satoko. A bear trap. My leg was being clamped down on by jagged metal teeth. There was blood and bone everywhere. I screamed and screamed. For the next part, I kill you. Satoko raised her right arm triumphantly, and traps began to trigger one after another. Suddenly, the wall sprang forward, throwing me 3 blocks away. And there I saw a giant metal ball covered in spikes hurtling towards me. Top of that, in the direction of the ball would knock me was a giant guillotine. Wow. No, that's about right. Anything completely ludicrous? No, that's not really. That's standard fare. What? What does that face look like? I'm gonna be crushed by a giant spiked metal ball. Can someone maybe describe that look on their face for me? What is that? What expression could that possibly be? How could my expression convey what I was thinking like that? Yeah, I don't think that's gonna happen. A gentle and meek Satoko. Next, I look over at Rika-chan, who was working diligently on some kanji drills. In contrast to Satoko, her default state was meek and gentle. Rika-chan came at me saying, "Oni-sama," I'd hug her. Tightly. I get used to that. I'm drooling? I don't like the fact that Keiichi is like all over these young girls. I feel like a gross protagonist. Saying that out loud, I felt a tinge of doubt. Was Rika-chan really all sweet? Despite her appearance, she really was quite sly. Sweetly. How do you put it? Evading things deftly? Couldn't put exactly what I was imagining into words, but Reina managed to say what I wanted to. She turned to me with an impish look in her eyes, like she was saying, "Ah, you shouldn't say something like that." That would be cool. Reina said that lightheartedly, but I, as a man, couldn't laugh at that. The scary part about that was that it felt like it could be true. Noticing my gaze, Rika-chan turned toward me and let loose with an angelic smile. Both Reina and I, feeling as what it was directed towards us personally, had our hearts skip a beat. Oh, so cute. I'm gonna take you home and put you in my basement and tie you to the radiator. Appearances can be deceiving, huh? Well then, what about our dear leader Mion? Stared at her, she tried to weasel her way out of her scolding by the teacher. By Reina's theory, that unrefined, calculating, conniving Mion also had a side of her that belied appearances. Is actually a good person? Yeah, I was gonna say, that's kind of harsh. You mean she's not a raging bitch? Catching on that I was struggling to express my feelings as words, Reina smiled even more brightly. Mysterious. She's a girl, but it's like she's a guy. She's like a tomboy. Yeah, that's right. Mion was more than aware that she was a girl, but it was exactly as Reina said. When Mion livened up the mood, it wasn't as though she felt like a guy or a girl specifically, but a friend of the same gender. Really feminine. I don't buy that. How much did Mion pay you? Well, we were kind of surprised in our last episode to find out that Mion was like really good at sewing and cooking and doing like household tasks, which is kind of like a domesticated, traditional female role. Reina began to pout. Now probably wasn't the right time to joke around.
はとっても可愛い女の子なんだよ。それ
Really a very
特
cute
にケイ
girl.
チ君には忘れてほしくないな。
Take your word for it. Sure. Reina's gaze focused off in the distance beyond where Mion was. The Mion that I met at Angel Mort was unimaginably different compared to the Mion that I normally knew. Flustered and hesitant from the unfamiliar job, it was a far cry from the brash and confident Mion. Even though she had to hurry to work, she went through all the trouble to bring me food when I was on the brink of starvation. And she did so not as Mion, but as Shion. What exactly was Shion to Mion? What kind of person was Mion exactly?
多分ケイチ君には想像つかないと思うな。
To say it was our little secret, Reina held up her finger to her lips as she giggled. Mion, finally free from the teacher's preaching, returned to her seat, cradling her head to hide her embarrassment.
チェさんはね、人生に必要な勉強は小学校までで十分だと思ってんだよ。
Saying that, she plopped down into her seat violently. Mion was actually really feminine. Right. Wonder if I could meet Shion again. Wanted to talk to her again. Clang, clang. Clang, clang, clang. Went the trolley. Principal waved around the bell that served as a school chime. The teacher rushed to the blackboard and began to list everybody's homework assignments.
今日は宿題が結構出そうだね。頑張らないと。
じゃあさ、レナもってことか？
何がかな。
Oh. He's saying, Reina, you seem so sweet and cute. Does that mean that you're really, like, conniving and evil? That definitely applied to us in the last episode in the Nikiguchi chapter.
ケイチ君にはレナのことどう見えるかな。
The Reina Vyugu that I knew sometimes took things too far, but was generally a kind and gentle ideal girl.
本当にだったら嬉しいかな。
She was the opposite of what she seemed. That would make her... That would make you evil and conniving. Just try saying it, I won't be mad. That's what I felt she meant.
レナは逆になってもレナだよ。だろ?
Question shouldn't be so nerve-wracking to answer. Maybe it was because the person in question was staring at me, but even saying that took a strange amount of effort.
ずるいな、ケイチ君。そんな言い方されちゃったら気になっちゃうよ。はお。
Perhaps unable to endure my silence, Reina's face began to burn red with embarrassment.
レナ、ケイちゃん、帰ろう。
Mion walked over and started getting ready to go home. Whenever school is over, she really does get noticeably more energetic. Oh, no club activities today, because Rika has to practice for the festival. That's right. It was the same relaxing walk home as always. Digging around my pocket on a whim, I noticed something that should have been there that was missing.
どうしたの、ケイちゃん。
いつも持ってるはずのうちの鍵がないんだよ。参ったな。どこにやっちゃったかな。親はいるから今日はいいけど、まずいよな。
So either somebody stole his house key, or he left it outside when he was doing phys ed.
忘れてきたの？それとも落としちゃったのかな？
Which one was it? Did I take it with me this morning in the first place? Huh?
ケイちゃん、その鍵の特徴は？
キーホルダーがついてる。昔夏休みの宿題で作らされたやつで、青いオットセイなんだよ。
あれ？目をつぶった感じでお昼寝してるみたいなやつ？
お、なんで知ってるんだよ。そうそう、それだよ。
Mion looked away and began to whistle.
さ、おとといケイちゃん、エンジェルモートに食事に行ったでしょ。その晩さ、お店で鍵の落とし物があったんだよ。それにオットセイのキーホルダーがついてた。
As she said that, she suddenly grew flustered and added that Shion had told her about it.
あの時に落としちゃったのか。
What a weird thing to have a conversation with your sister about. We found a key at work today. How was your day?
でも
We found a
見つかって
key
よ
at
かっ
work.
たね。お店がきっと預かってくれてるよ。
そうだね。行ってみなよ。シオンの顔、私と同じだからわかるでしょ。
This was a rather unexpected development. Once again, I had no choice but to go and meet with Shion. I also had to thank her for the bento from yesterday. Besides, taking some time and chatting with this other side of Mion might be interesting. Half jokingly, I began to think about things like this.
そうだな。エンジェルモートだっけ？シオンの店に行って鍵を返してもらって、ついでにお茶でも飲んで優雅に過ごすってのも悪くないな。
なんだか英国紳士みたいだね。ケイちゃんには似合わないかも。
Why don't we bring Mion and Reina with us? What are they
ひ
doing?
ょっとしてそのお店かな。兄ちゃんの妹の働いてるお店は。
ああ、だからレナも一緒
With
に
me,
行くか。
Reina.
ちょっと残念だけど、今日はお父さんと約束があるから。
Fine.
またの機会にするね。
Reina seemed pretty disappointed about having to miss such a great opportunity.
双子だそうだけど、そんなにそっくりなのかな。間違えるくらい？
ああ、そっくりだ。外見だけはそっくりだ。中身はミオンと違って、おしとやか
Unlike
で
Mion,
実
she's
に
really
可愛
well
ら
mannered
しい
and
よ
really
ね。
cute. Ouch. She's standing right here. In response to my teasing, Mion pouted and began to argue with me. Couldn't help but burst out laughing at Mion's little farce. After all, they weren't just identical, they were the same person. Or so he thinks. As he keeps stating. Going home, I changed my clothes and dug my bike out of the garage. Just thinking that I would be able to meet Shion again gave me a mysterious feeling. Shion, named for a different kind of Mion. She was a mysterious and ridiculous person, believing she had fooled everyone like that. Noticed that I was pedaling along quite happily. Could it be that I was looking forward to meeting Shion? I felt a sense of giddy anticipation, like I was headed towards a new friend's house for the first time. What Reina said about Mion actually being really feminine sprang to mind once again. The guilt from spying on another side of Mion, the self-consciousness from being the only one that knew that side, these feelings mixed together. That was Shion for you. Mion's little twin sister. Though she felt like coming out and admitting she was Mion, it was fine to just call her Shion, right? Mion might be trying to have some fun by acting out a different persona. Last time I wasn't embarrassed since I went here with Dad, but this time I was alone. I was strangely self-conscious about it. Meet Shion, get my key back. That was all this task was supposed to be. If I dawdled around like this, maybe Shion would find me before she headed in for work. Hey, what are you doing, Keiji Maibara? You're just here to get your key back, you know? Not like you're some love-struck schoolboy here to hand over a love letter. Or maybe we are a little bit. The thoughts inside my head were slowly turning into a jumbled mess. I came to the realization that I was downright giddy. That's why, for just a bit, just a tiny little bit, got a little carried away and did something really stupid. I took my dick out. Took my dick out in front of the restaurant. Keiichi. Filthy. Kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking... Oh. Kicked over a parked motorcycle that was blocking the sidewalk. It was in the way, sure, but there was absolutely no need for me to kick it. Definitely think I got too carried away. Why did you kick the motorcycle? Crash. 3 bikes toppled one after another like dominoes. The loud noise they caused snapped me back to my senses.
やば。
Now you're gonna get your ass kicked by a bunch of big biker dudes. Delinquent? Owners of those 3 bikes were right there. It's exactly like what you'd call thugs up to no good. Lifted their heads up in an imposing manner and yelled angrily in a way I'd never heard before. 3 of them beelined towards me, the worn-down heels of their thin-soled shoes slapping noisily against the pavement. I only stared listlessly as if I were watching some far-off event that didn't concern me at all. Time I realized that I'd been grabbed by the collar and lifted onto my tiptoes. You knocked him over, didn't ya? 3 thugs were completely ignoring the rules of grammar, but the way they spoke was enough to make me tremble. Just like that, my composure drained away, my legs buckled, and my throat grew dry enough to crack. Well, maybe you shouldn't have kicked the damn bikes. What was that about?
すみません。つい。
Accidentally? Accident my ass. You kicked it, didn't you, dumbass? Completely at fault, so there's nothing I could say in my defense. As a result, I was pulled even higher. Put you up to this, eh? This... Hold on. This is your goddamn fault. 3 of them continued to yell at me. I had no idea what each of them were saying. Getting further enraged that I was only listening while dumbstruck, they grabbed an empty plastic crate from a nearby store and began to smash it repeatedly against a telephone pole. Cracks formed in the crate, plastic shards flying everywhere. Then they slammed it full force into the shuttered storefront. Smash. Smash. Shut out a frightening loud noise. So unsatisfied, they flipped over a case of empty cans, scattering its contents all over the place. Why are they... This was not normal. No, it wasn't. I was like, why are they throwing stuff around? Something you saw often on television or in manga, but never thought I'd be seeing it in person would be this terrifying. Painfully aware that the safety of civilized society was only held up by such a frail concept as morals. My knees clattered together noisily. Static began to pepper my vision. It is what you would call absolute terror. Nothing I could do to stop this frightening spectacle of violence. Only pray for help. What I felt was just too much. Would somebody help me? Help me! Help me! There's cans everywhere! Help me, please! My gaze wandered about the surrounding area. I was surrounded by these three hoodlums. No way would there be a passerby brave enough to intervene. Or would there be? Maybe this is what you call reaping what you sow. Maybe I shouldn't have knocked over those motorcycles. Maybe. Or a passerby, there'd be no doubt that I'd ignore what was going on. This was somewhat of a cosmic retribution. Fucking say something. I'll fucking stab ye. I'll fucking stab ye. Angry yelling loud enough to rattle my eardrums spewed forth, right in front of my face. My waning consciousness was forcefully dragged back to the forefront. The thug had cocked back his free hand and twisted his body when, suddenly, a metallic face filtered through the back of my throat. A chill ran through my spine like a jolt of electricity. Seeing what was going to happen next, I squeezed my eyes shut as tightly as possible and gripped my teeth. Is he gonna punch us in the face? Ooh. Shion said that? Voice was a short distance away. Still holding by my collar, the three thugs spun around to look behind them. The fuck you say? Saying there was Shion. I mean Mion. She stood there displaying an imposing stature that I'd never seen before. She didn't have the same look on her face as she did when we were playing around during club. Those were the eyes that would instill fear in anyone who looked upon them. The eyes of a raptor. Do we mean like a velociraptor or like a bird of prey? I like to imagine her as a little velociraptor with little tiny arms. They were the epitome of terror. At the same time, they were the most reassuring things in the world. Mion, without an ounce of fear, laid down her ultimatum. Of course, there was no way those three wouldn't go absolutely berserk. The situation instantly turned explosively dangerous. You fucking bitch! I'll fucking bash your head in! Stop it, Mion. These guys are like rabid dogs. No amount of bluffing will work.
Mion,
Knew what I was saying was pathetic, but I couldn't let Mion get involved in this. No matter how you looked at it, Mion was only bluffing. But did Mion even know the meaning of the word bluff? However, the reason behind everything soon became apparent. They were slowly increasing in number, little by little. First, it was only businessmen on their way home stopping to take a look. Then it was housewives in the middle of shopping taking a gander. Next, what seemed like the owner of some store showed up, and it was pretty clear he wasn't just looking. Oh, is it because they're harassing a girl now instead of just beating up on a boy? Around Mion, there was already around 7 people gathered. Felt different than people coming out to support a friend. I had to say why. It was because the group that gathered was diverse in age and gender. The three thugs seemed to slowly realize that there was something strange about the situation. Who the hell are these guys? Behind them at some point, former people in differing clothes and ages had gathered. A girl who looked to be in middle school. A man was wearing a bakery apron. An old lady in a house cleaning smock. More and more, people of various ages. Their gazes, comparable to Mion's, were of hostility, of intimidation. Before I realized that over 10 people had formed a ring around us. At that moment, 5 elementary schoolers ran in and joined the circle. There were some familiar faces, some of our classmates. Then these people were residents of Hinamizawa? More people from Hinamizawa. Oh. So right now we're in Okinomiya. We're in the city outside of town. So all the people that are coming to help us are townsfolk. In obvious contrast, the residents of Okinomiya were passing us by as quickly as possible. The fuck are you guys? Oh, the fuck away! Group surrounding us had suddenly swelled to around 20 people. Completely encircled, the faces of the thugs began to show the first signs of panic. Nobody spoke a word, Leon included. It made everything completely unnatural and, depending on which side you were on, completely terrifying. So, I guess none of the Hinamizawa people that were in Okinomiya came to our defense because we're like new. We're a transfer. Mion was probably born in Hinamizawa. Only the thugs' voices echoed out like they were screaming. Somebody took a step forward, closing the gap between them. As they did, everybody else took a step forward, shrinking the circle. The hoodlums went pale as they were pushed together back to back, while still yelling angrily. They were trying to string together vulgarities, but for some reason it sounded like they were crying out for help. Break it up. Break it up, policeman. It was sudden. A solidly built officer cut his way through the crowd. At some point, 2 police cars had arrived. Some passerby had undoubtedly called for them. Several burly officers appeared from inside the second vehicle. The extortionist caught red-handed. Is Brett the one's what's wrong here? Mion, returning to her usual self, was nonchalantly pointing out the hoodlums to the police. Of course, the thugs were furious. Now that it come to this, there was nothing they could do. It was their loss. Yeah, get out of here. Get out of here, I'll stick Shion on you again. Officers handcuffed the thugs and dragged them towards the patrol cars. We're the victims here. No matter how much of a ruckus they caused, the officers paid no heed. In the blink of an eye, they were crammed inside the 2 vehicles. They could still be heard yelling while inside the police cars, but what they were saying was no longer intelligible. Oh, I do not remember his name. He will tell us. He was in the first episode. Probably a detective. Oishi? I think it's Oishi. Mainly the police peered at my face. Portly man, after taking a quick look around, addressed the crowd. Ah, Detective Uishi, I was right. Okay. The way Shion talked didn't have a very pleasant tone. She doesn't have a pleasant tone while she's thanking him? Is it like sarcasm? Detective named Uishi, after jovially making pleasantries, lumbered over to the waiting police car. Quickly set off, disappearing down the city street. It was over so quickly. So quickly I was dumbstruck. Didn't even get to ask the officer what was going on. It was like they came here quickly to disperse the mob before any trouble could start. Making sure the police cars had left, Mion snapped her finger sharply. That was the signal. The tension melted away in an instant as everybody began smiling. The middle-aged man helped me up. You're like a little community of people who care about me. Only I didn't know the name of was concerned about my injury. I was even warned by the old lady in the smock. As Shion finished applauding the dispersing group for their efforts, she strode over to me. You've saved my bacon.
だから私シオン
Made a troubled expression as she turned her gaze downward, blushing in embarrassment.
お姉に聞いてますよ。オットセイのカニあれケイちゃんのですって。
あ、うん、そうだった。これからお店に行こうとしてたんだった。
それで浮かれててあんな変なのに絡まれちゃ
What
っ
a
て
scary expression. That was my turn for my face to go red. I didn't want to admit that she was spot on.
まあ、その
Well, I was just unlucky and super horny to see you, Shion.
でもシオンのおかげで助かった。
I was just so excited I had to extend my legs and kick those motorcycles down.
だからケイちゃんも他の人がいじめられてるのを見つけたら私たちそういうのをとても大切にするから。
I was well versed in that sense of camaraderie, but the way I was rescued just now, something seemed a little off about that. It was like a pack mentality of the Hinamizawa people, like they all just gathered out of nowhere. While I was helped out, it was honestly an almost disturbing degree.
お店来ますよね。疲れちゃっただろうから一服しません？おごりますよ。
Seems like she caught the glimmer of suspicion in my eyes. Without waiting for my answer, Shion began walking. Yeah, we need to stop calling her Mion. What a shit thing to do. Constantly calling a twin by their other name. He still thinks you're the same person. Foolishly. After cooling off a bit inside the restaurant, little by little, I realized I was still on edge. Oh, there we go. There were spots here and there on my body that hurt, probably because I'd been so stiff with nervousness. Shion, who had changed into her uniform, brought over 2 glasses of iced coffee. Oh, an iced coffee would be so good right now.
おごりのアイスコーヒー。
I've had 3 cups of coffee this morning. I loved iced coffee. There you go, iced coffee on the house.
レジでこのチケット渡せば無料になりますからね。
My patheticness really knew no bounds. But since she went through the trouble, I might as well take her up on the offer. Even though it had started off as such a lovely day, I had to get carried away and do that stupid thing. I'd completely ruined it.
でも本当にさ、さっきのは助かったよ。シオンが本当に頼もしく見えた。
私だって怖かったですよ。でも他ならぬケイちゃんのピンチだし、勇気出して頑張りましたってことです。
A little embarrassed by what she just said, Shion made a show of folding her arms boldly.
シオン、本当にありがとうな。
I was thanking Shion, but I really wanted to thank Mion. Mion, really, thank you.
ほらほら、もう元気出してくださいよ。もしも恩義を感じるなら、今度はケイちゃんが他の誰かのために戦ってくださいね。例えば、私がピンチになったら、きっと助けに来てくださいよ。
Of course we'll save you. We got a free coffee out of it.
絶対ですからね。
Taking advantage of my words, she seemed happy about my promise.
ピンチになったら、ケイちゃんが助けに来てくれるのか。早くピンチにならないかな。あ、やっと笑ってくれた。
She said as she smiled to herself, poking me in the cheek.
元気のないケイちゃんなんて、偽物もいいとこです。ほら、笑って笑って。
くすぐったいってば。
Please don't tickle me. I have a boner. Please don't tickle me. Thanks to Shion's meddling, I finally cheered up a little. All the muscles in my body that had stiffened because of the incident finally began to relax a little.
元気出たらお腹とか空いてこないです。私お腹空いちゃいましたからホットケー
Oh,
キとか食べたいん
pancakes
です
and
け
iced
ど。
coffee. Oh my god,
ケイ
shut
ちゃん
up.
も食べます？
Wanted to show a little restraint, but restraint really wasn't my thing. So I replied without any.
うまいんだろうな。俺、ホットケーキはかなりうるさいぜ。
Pancakes are always amazing. I don't think I can ever think of a time when I've had bad pancakes. I've never eaten a pancake and been like, I can't eat this because it's bad. It's very hard to screw them up to that degree.
評判いいですから。
Shion ordered some pancakes from a nearby waitress. An employee ordering from another employee seems kind of weird.
おいおい、そういえばシオン、今バイト中じゃないのか？俺とずっと話をして油を。
おじさんにね、私が不良に絡まれてるところをケイちゃんが助けてくれたって言
That
っ
was
て。
nice of him.
だから店長公認で OK です。
それ事実と正反対だぞ。いいのかな？
全然いいのです。
By the time the pancakes arrived, we'd entered into a relaxed conversation. Two of us ate pancakes, we'd liven the mood with some chit-chat. About what was on TV, celebrities, that kind of thing. Hobbies, food, I mean, nothing more than idle chit-chat. Talking together like this, I once again became conscious of Shion being a girl. Hey now, that's funny talk, Keiichi Maibara. Shion and Mion are the same person. If there was anything different between them, it was only whether or not Mion admitted she was Mion. But given that, how come our conversation was this different? Because they're two different people.
ケイちゃんってお姉のことを女だと思ってないでしょ。
そんなことはないよ。男だったら容赦なくどつき倒してる。
She just got some very masculine traits about her. She's a tomboy.
ケイちゃんとお姉が仲がいいのってそういうノンセクシャルな関係にあると思うんです。それってなかなかできない羨ましい関係ですよ。
言ってる意味がよくわかんないな。まあ確かに女にしとくには
Be a waste to treat her like a girl.
あ、ケイちゃん、それ男女差別ですよ。
Hearing the word sexist was cause for introspection. What was I prejudiced against Mion and Shion for? Mion was Mion. She was the best friend a guy could ask for. No reservations and head and shoulders above me when it came to club activities. If I'd met her 5 years earlier, my life would have probably been a lot more fun. Of this I had no doubt. What about Shion? She was Mion's little sister, and it hadn't even been 3 days since we met. Our relationship was much more distant, as the only thread we had in common was that I knew her sister. And for Shion, it was the same. I was somebody she met 3 days ago only because I was a friend of her sister's. Difference between Mion and Shion? Friendliness? Familiarity? Playing around with those unclear thoughts for a while, I stopped listening to Shion.
例えばですよ。聞いてます？
なあごめん。聞いてるよ。
例えばですよ。
Okay, you keep saying hypothetical. What is your question?
私とお姉が共にピンチで、崖にぶら下がってるとします。ケイちゃんはどっちを助けます？どっちか一人だけですよ。
Hanging off the side of a cliff. You can only save one. That's a tough one. She wasn't saying it to tease me, but had a playful tone behind her voice.
嫌な問題だ
That's
な。
a nice question.
どっちも助けたいけど、それじゃダメなんだろ。
ダメです。シオンかミオンのどっちかだけです。どっちですか
？Gosh. I mean, I guess we should say Shion because she's standing right here in front of us. Or Mion, I don't think she'd be in that situation in the first place, as if it's something she could easily get out of herself. What about the normal frail Shion? I guess I'd have no choice.
お姉じゃないですよね。
Mion and Shion were different people. I suppose it would come to that. Couldn't confirm nor deny it. She should have been smiling, but her gaze was locked firmly to mine.
つまり、そういうことなんですよ。お姉はそのつまり、あれ？すみません。なんか自分で言ってて破綻しちゃい
My
ました。
sister is splat. Shion was trying to talk in a lighthearted manner, but I felt there was something more behind her words. Was Mion trying to tell me something through Shion? Not being able to put a finger on exactly what it was vexing. Shion, to hide her embarrassment, turned the conversation around.
それよりも、さっきのあれ、驚きましたか？
そりゃ驚いたよ。レナやサトコが駆けつけてくれるならともかく、あんなに老若男女がいろいろと集まってくるんだからな。あれ全部Hinamizawaの人なんだろ？
Yeah, so all the people that came to defend us from those bikers were from Hinamizawa. They were all townspeople.
Hinamizawaの人は、一人の敵は全員の敵。
Enemy of one is the enemy of all.
日和見なんか誰もしません。結構頼もしい住民性なんですよ。
誰かがいじめられたらみんなで結束してやっつけるわけか。なんだかマフィアとかヤクザみたいな結束だな。
そんなこと言っちゃダメですよ。とてもありがたいことなんですから。ケイちゃんもそれに助けられたんですよ。感謝の気持ちを忘れないよ
Yeah,
うに。
thank you. Thank you for saving us from those mean bikers. I half-heartedly agreed. I knew full well I should be appreciative.
Hinamizawaの人たちって本当に仲が良くて結束してるんだな。
昔からの伝統かな。Hinamizawaって昔からいろいろと敗損の危機に遭うんですよね。その度に結束して戦って、存続を勝ち取ってきたっていう歴史があるんですよ。例えば、ケイちゃん、 Hinamizawa ダム計画って知ってます？
Ah, so we learned more about this in our last chapter, the Onikakushi chapter. So there was a dam project that was going on in Hinamizawa that was stopped. They killed the foreman. I think it was like 6 or 7 people in the village killed the foreman and like distributed his body parts all over the place in order to stop the dam project because the town would have gone underwater. Hinamizawa Dam Project. Let's see, I feel like I've heard somebody talk about it before.
10年くらい前にね、突然ここにダムができて、南沢が丸ごと水没するって話になったんですよ。
あ、そんな話、親父かなんかに聞いたことがあるような。でもそれって確か中止になったんだろ？
Yeah, it was canceled when the guy died. Yeah.
中止にさせたんです。
Made them cancel it by murdering them.
みんなで団結して。だからこれは戦って勝ち取った勝利なんです。
Sounded pretty much like the story I heard. Protests intensified to the point where it was featured in newspapers and magazines. As a result, the plan was suspended.
ダムの話そのものは私が生まれる前からあったらしいんです。最初は候補地調査とか砂防のための小さいダムとかそんな程度の話だったんですよ。
Then the cat was let out of the bag. If it were completed, it would have been the biggest dam in Japan. Not just Hinamizawa, but several villages upstream would have been submerged as well. Protests immediately began. Petitions to cancel or relocate the project were drafted and submitted to the Diet. They even went so far as to the Ministry of Construction in Tokyo to hand over a direct appeal to the minister. The previous landowner sued the government, stating that there were inconsistencies in the purchase agreement and the transaction should be nullified. Owners of yet unacquired land split their properties, increasing the number of landowners in order to stifle the project.
土地の買収なんていうお金の問題のうちは可愛かったんです。そのうち土地の強制収用をちらつかせるようになりましてね。その頃からです。機動隊とかの暴力行為が目立ち始めたのは。
機動隊
Riot
って
police.
警察だろ？暴力行為なんてするのかよ。
殴りますよ。蹴りますよ。私も殴られたことありますし、この辺だったかな。皮が切れちゃったみたいで血がすごい出ました。
Jesus. This was 10 years ago? So how old were you? Like 5 or 6? My skin split open and a whole lot of blood spilled out. Saying that, Shion indicated her temple by poking at it.
警察とかには？
Filing a complaint against the riot police for police brutality would seem kind of strange for some reason. Naturally, they wouldn't pay heed to something like that. Wouldn't be able to establish proof on who exactly hit you, and they could justify their actions by saying you were interfering with police duties. Not if you're a child.
うちのばっちゃ烈火のごとく怒り狂いましてね。それからがすごかった。もう全面戦争ですよ。こっちも座り込みで訴えるなんて生っちょろいことなんかしません。ガンガン攻めました。
On the offensive. First, in order to call attention to the government, they filed a temporary injunction in court. In order to gain public support, they called in prominent scientists to state that Hinamizawa was a valuable natural preserve. They pressured the prefectural and municipal assemblies, saying that the prefectural governor ignored his constituents when he approved the project, and demanded his resignation. They completely and thoroughly denounced him. Naturally, in Hinamizawa, ferocious conflict worthy of being called the Dam War began. The Dam War. In order to suppress the police's brutality, they coordinated with the network channels and exposed the violence of the riot squad members to the public. On top of that, they put together a special expose themed around the government repressing the citizens and aired it nationally. It worked wonders. Following that, the SWAT teams had their hands cuffed. Day after day, the petitions and demonstrations continued. Propaganda was used to help garner support. The circle of support gradually expanded outwards from Hinamizawa. Either that bore fruit, or the government finally decided against it. It was announced that the dam project was indefinitely suspended just a few years ago.
私たちにできることなら何でもしました。村全部が一丸になって戦ったんです。あの時は必死だったけど、終わった今となってはいい思い出かな。村人たちの連帯感や団結心は今でも消えていないんです。
Well, it sounds like a beautiful, touching story. But Shion said that as she focused off into the distance, felt that those eyes weren't filled with anguish, but rather a sense of pride.
そういう連帯感っていいよな。なかなかないことだよ。世代を超えて地域で団結できるなんて。
私もそう思います。 ダム計画は試練だったけど、それを乗り越えて得たものはとても大きいと思いますよ。
The fear I was feeling until now just began to fade. When people began to show up one after another while I was engaged with those thugs, I thought it was frightening. And now I felt from the bottom of my heart that I had been rude. Villagers prepared to defend their homeland to the death. A sense of solidarity that fostered. It might seem impudent to say this, but I was a little jealous. If I had been in Hinamizawa when the protest against the dam was going on, I might have been able to share in that sense of solidarity.
ケイちゃんは反対運動の時、ひなみ沢にいなかったから、村人たちの連帯感を実感できないかもしれないけど、みんなにはあるの。しっかりと。それはたとえ引っ越してきたばかりのケイちゃんに対してもね。
We're like a big old family. A big old murder family. Couldn't have been more right. How many people got together to help me when I just moved here? Even though there were strangers whose names I didn't even know. A hot feeling began welling up inside of me. When I lived in the city, I didn't even know my own neighbors. Yeah, I have no idea who lives around me. If you live in a city, like, screw the neighborhood. I don't freaking know anybody. I thought that was natural. But here, that was an absurd and pathetic thing. Even though I thought of them as strangers, all the other villagers viewed me as a comrade. Happiness and warmth. I was acutely aware of those feelings as they gradually welled up inside of me.
園崎さん、店長がホール入ってほしいそうです。
A more senior waitress waved her hand and called out to Shion. It seemed like it was time for work.
はい、今入ります。すみません。もう仕事しないとまずいみたいです。
いいよいいよ。付き合ってくれてありがとな。楽しかったよ。
帰っちゃいます？
まあな、飯の時間には戻らないとお袋がうるさいし。
It seemed that Shion wanted to say something, but she swallowed her words. Like we hadn't talked enough, that kind of feeling. Looking at that expression, I regretted saying something that had disappointed Mion like that. I was about to say that I could stay for a little bit longer when Shion got up from her seat.
はいこれ。このチケットで払えばホットケーキ代も大丈夫ですから。
Aww. Free pancakes. And then she showed me a coupon booklet as she tore out a few sheets and handed them to me.
便利でしょ？お給料の他にもらえるボーナスチケットなんですよ。
いいよ。ホットケーキ代くらい払えるよ。
おやおや、遠慮するなんてケイちゃんらしくないですよ。私がお姉だったら喜んでおごられるくせに。
She said as she laughed, gently stopping me from opening my wallet. Being told so with such an encouraging smile really resounded with me.
園崎さん、すみません。レジ入ってください。はい、今すぐ。
Later, today was fun. Saying that, Shion smiled one more time at me.
なあ、ミオン。今日は本当にありがとうな。
Shion, you have to stop calling her Mion.
そう思うなら、きっと返してください。楽しみにしてますから。
After I said it, I realized I mistakenly called her Mion. I didn't know if she realized it or not. I realized it. Ooh, nighttime. Spooky stuff. Lazing around and watching television after dinner was part of my daily routine. It might seem like a waste at first glance, but you could say it was an important time when I was able to accrue knowledge of everything from politics to economics to various trivia. After dinner was valuable time well spent, while the brain was at its most supplied with nutrients.
バカバカ。東京タワーの方が高いに決まってるだろう。
Oh, he's yelling at the TV, I see. He's like watching a trivia game show. Today I tested my knowledge of trivia by watching my weekly quiz show. Sitting in front of the television, I was able to get a lot of the answers right. But if I were actually up on stage, I'd probably fail miserably. And maybe we'll get some homework done too.
園崎さんから電話よ。
はいよ。園崎？ミオンか。
A little late for her to be calling. I had a bad feeling about this. I had a hunch it was something to do with club activities. She's probably going to inform me about what we were doing tomorrow. This was Mion we were talking about. I didn't even go so far to say that we're doing club activities right now, so hurry up and come over. By the way, it was 8 p.m.
もしもし。今から部活の野戦ってのは却下だぞ。
じゃなくて。
Oh, it's Shion. Mion, but in a very un-Mion-like way of talking. Huh? Could it be?
ごめん。ひょっとしてミオンじゃなくてシオンか？
そうです。どうもこんばんは。
This girl wants us bad.
夜分遅くにすみません。
For Mion, this would have been an ill-fittingly polite way of talking. But since it was Shion, it was natural. Even though they were both the same person. A dry smile, I enjoyed that mysterious feeling.
いや別にいいよ。それより何の用だい？
ケイちゃんはケーキとかデザートとか甘いものは好きですか？
There's no way I hated them. I'm an unabashed glutton.
ならよかったです。実はですね、夏の新デザートコンテストってのがありまして。
So they have a new dessert menu every season. So they were hiring taste testers for potential desserts.
エンジェルモートのデザートはかなり評判いいんですよ。モニターの募集もかなり倍率高いんです。それで担当直入な話。じゃーん。
じゃーんと言われても見えないからわからないけど。
そうです。そのモニターチケットがここ
Oh,
にあ
we
る
get to eat free desserts. Hey,
も甘いものが嫌いじゃないなら。
I do not mind sweets. I would love to have a ticket to just sit around all day on my fat ass and eat cakes.
いかが
Are
で
you
すか
kidding me? That's like my dream job.
そのチケットで俺が新デザートを食い放題とそういうわけなのか？
I said we beware of honey pots, but this is sweeter than any pot of honey. All you can eat free dessert? No way.
OK ならモニター当選者の末番に名前を書いておきますね。明日お店に来たら係の者に名前を言ってください。それで万事 OK ですから。
万事 OK ってそれで
All you can eat.
食べ放題な
Oh
の
my
か？
god.
無料なの
For
か？
free.
ええ、無料です。結構ありますからお腹を空かせてくる
For
ことをお勧め
free.
します。
Such a delectable opportunity was almost scary. This is really Shion, right? It wasn't Mion posing as Shion in order to bait me into a trap, was it? What am I saying? The same person.
はいはい。ケイちゃんの考えてることは分かってますよ。こんな美味しい話があるわけないって思って。
ギグいやそんなことは全然。
お姉から聞いてますけど、つくづく嘘のつけない人なんですね。私、そういうの嫌いじゃな
Not
いです。
averse to somebody like that. She wants it. She wants the D. I get it. Shion laughed with a voice that sounded a lot like how Mion would laugh.
下心ってわけじゃないんですけど、実は私、明日はちょっとバイトしたらすぐに終わりなんです。もしもご迷惑じゃなかったら、
Want a little
そ
date?
の後ちょっとご一緒してもらってもいいかなって。
Sure.
明日のバイトはすぐ終わっちゃうんだ。
はい。だから、ケイちゃんがデザート食べながらのんびりしてるうち
I
に
hope Mion is cool with this.
まあ俺も特に
I
用事
imagine
は
she'll
ないし
probably be like insanely jealous.
多少付き合うくらいなら構わないよ。
別にどこかに行くわけでもないです。夕涼みしながらお散歩でもできたらなっ
In the
て
evening
思っ
when
て
we
る
take
だけです。
Unless we have club activities. There's no reason for me to refuse. Out of courtesy, I might as well take her up on the offer.
そういえば、ケイちゃんと私ってなんだか毎日会ってますよね。
言われてみればそうだな。
でも、OK してもらえたおかげで、また明日も会える口実を作ることができる。
Sure, I guess. Huh? What was Mion saying?
ケイちゃん、なんだか声が裏返ってます。どうしたんでしょうね。
On the video phone, but you could tell I was beat red.
じゃあ明日、きっと来てくださいね。それじゃあこれで失礼します。おやすみなさい。
So flirty.
おやすみ。
Shion finished with what she had called to say and ended the conversation without any chit-chat. When I returned to the living room after hanging up the phone, the TV was already off and my mom was sleeping in the rocking chair. Not feeling like turning the TV back on, I went upstairs and returned to my room.
俺シオンに世話になってばかりだよな。
She brought me a bento and saved me what got involved with those thugs. She was supposed to be a different person, so I could thank Mion at school. Come to think of it, she'd probably just say she'll pass on to her sister. I have to thank Shion directly. Tomorrow I'll have to repay her somehow. Nice. This chapter, this Watanagashi chapter is going a little bit slower than the first chapter we did, Onikakushi. Like right around here, after the Cotton Drifting Festival, is when shit started to go sideways. Details of the Delinquent 3. Ooh, new tip. And we got an achievement unlocked, Mob Mentality. Alright. Yeah, this one's going a little bit slower, so I'm thinking that there's gonna be some more stuff happening coming up soon. It's building. That's one of the things I love about this series, is it takes some time to build. You get to know the characters. Why are you arresting us? Let go! Let go of me! I love the way they talk.
腕を離してあげていいですよ。さあさあさあ、どうぞおかげになって。
3 people rubbed their arms painfully. Kumatame-kun and the others must have been squeezing them pretty tightly.
お兄さんたち誤解しないでくださいよ。別に逮捕したわけじゃないんだから。クマちゃん、冷蔵庫から冷たいの出してあげてください。お兄さんたちは泡の出る麦茶。
Barley with foam or without? Like beer? They plunked down on the reception sofa, and despite not yelling anymore, they still had dangerous expressions. What I'd give to be young again.
飲まないなら私勝手に飲んじゃいますよ。勤務中に飲むビールが一番美味しいですね。
I hope these delinquents are old enough to drink before we just start offering them beer. That seems very unpoliceman-like. As he downed the beer with glee, the 3 people exchanged glances and finally reached for their cans. Hadn't stopped being cautious. It was more like they didn't see a reason to refuse. Each opened their cans and began to drink the contents. Why are we sharing beers with these people?
お兄さんたちはどっから来たんです？ここいらの人じゃないでしょう。
Looked at each other again, suspicious of whether they should tell them.
お兄さんたち大学生？お友達同士？バイクか何かで旅行中だったんでしょうかね。羨ましいな。
This is weird.
家は近くってわけじゃないんでしょう。どっから来たの？大阪ですかな。んなのどこでもいいだろ。
Yeah, I wonder if we're just doing like a good cop routine or something?
まあまあそうすごまないで。あのままいたらお兄さん方だってやばかったでしょ。
Seemed to recall the thrilling event from earlier. Well, they could understand getting surrounded by students or a gang or something along those lines. We've never been surrounded by locals, both young and old, by men and women before. It's easy to imagine how scared they must have been.
ここいらの人間ならどんな間違いがあってもhinamizawaの人間には手出ししないですよ。子供の喧嘩に親は出てくるな、なんてもんじゃない。一人をいじめたら、それこそ村中が総出でやってきますよ。いや、ほんと、脅しでもなんでもなく。
That's not just an idle threat. Couldn't argue against that. They themselves had been surrounded. They'd seen it with their own eyes. There was no doubt about it.
ここいらじゃねえ。hinamizawaの人間に睨まれたら、あっさり鬼隠しにあって消えちまう。
Demoned away.
もう、跡形もなく忽然と。お兄さん方、行方不明になったら誰か捜索願いを出してくれるご家族はいます？蒸発扱いですよ。
Oh. So Oishi is saying that he saved the bikers. He was saying that the bikers were going to get killed or spirited away. That's why he brought them to the police station. He's sharing beers with them. Even then, we got there soon enough that nothing happened. If we'd been late, things could have taken a turn for the worse. They'd been forced into an alleyway. These young men wouldn't be sitting on a couch right now. They'd be lying on an autopsy table. Foo. Well, probably not. Anyway, perhaps they'd be a little more cooperative if we found them as corpses.
お兄さん方、沖宮へは何で来たの？バイク？バイク。そりゃまずいな。さっきのとこにまだ止めっぱなしなんでしょ。あんたらのこのことバイクを取りに戻ったら、今度こそ袋叩きに会いますよ。
How's that?
なんだよそれ。
Calm down, calm down. Why are these young people so dazed so quick with the shouting?
あんたらももう面倒ごとはごめんでしょう。バイクのナンバー教えてください。ここまで持ってきてあげますから。クマちゃん、交通課対策にゲート車を借りてきてください。えっせ。別にいいよ。自分たちで取りに行くからいいって。あんたら本気で囲まれたいんですか。今度は警察間に合わないかもしれませんよ。大丈夫だっつったんだろ。囲み上等で。おい、お兄さん方、あんたら今泡の出る麦茶飲んだろ。エンジンかけてみろ。その場で飲酒取る。
Oh, sneaky. That's why you're sharing beers with them. Yeah, that is a little bit sneaky. That's dirty.
警察が税金使って兄さん方のバイクを運びして死んぜよって言ってんだよ。ごちゃごちゃ言わねえで。ナンバー言ってんだこのクソバカ野郎。
Alright, we're no longer the good cop. Dude, we're hesitant to tell them the numbers. You're mumbling something along the lines of not remembering them since they just bought the bikes. Well, that's what I thought.
クマちゃん、ゲート車に同行してバイク持ってきてあげて。ごつい赤いやつとテールランプの右側が割れたやつ。あとシートにガムテ貼ってあった白いやつ。それだろ、兄さんたちのバイク。
Didn't answer. Those must be the right ones.
おいさん、ゲート車来ましたんで行ってきます。
はいはい、よろしくお願いします。あとクマちゃん、ちょっと。
なんすか？
ナンバー紹介しといてください。間違ったバイクを持ってきちゃうと悪いから。
Two people's faces changed color. Made themselves very easy to understand.
バイク戻ってくるまでのんびりしてましょうよ。
Oh, in case maybe they're like stolen or they have like any record of them?
テレビ見ます？ろくなのやってませんけどね。
いいよ、俺たちもう行くから。こんなとこにいつまでもいたくねえよ。
Suddenly there were 5 or 6 huge officers surrounding them. Their clearly overpowering stares nailed them to the sofa.
なんだよ。俺たちが何かしたかよ。
Going on a trip by stealing motorcycles, huh? Students these days have too much time on their hands. So they were going to start a fight with Keiichi over the bikes that they had stolen that weren't even theirs? That Oishi is pretty sneaky. So, I guess that's why Shion was talking so unpleasantly to him. Because the residents of Hinamizawa must not have like a really good reputation with the cops. That's what it seems like anyway. Alright, let's save it up here. Cool. Alright, yeah. So it's almost the Watanagashi. So usually after the Watanagashi chapter, it seems like things start to pick up and things start to snowball a little bit. We're still kind of like learning about our characters. Shion is new, so we're still learning a little bit about her, but things should pick up probably in the next episode or two, I think. So anyway, so this has been episode 4 of the Watanagashi chapter of Higurashi When They Cry. If you like this series, stick with it, and I'll have more episodes up this week. But I appreciate y'all watching, and I will catch you for the next one. Peace!